If there was a way to understand why salespeople struggle and why they lose deals, what would it be? I'm Scott Sylvan Bell. I'm coming to you live from Sacramento, California on a perfect day to talk about sales and a perfect day to talk about why new salespeople struggle and why people who've been out in the field for a while struggle. And I've spent the last 7 years riding with salespeople daily or standing in front of a room training salespeople, and I get to see the common patterns. And this is the QSDP pattern. Okay, so I'm going to take you through this process and why it's important for you. And if you're struggling right now, you can identify what's going on. Okay, so the first phase of sales, when somebody goes through sales training, they only know how to ask questions. So they go out in the field, they ask questions. It's the only thing that they can rely upon, so they close deals. And this usually is like for the first month, sometimes 2 or sometimes 3, depending upon the salesperson. But there's usually about a 30-day window where I see somebody like peak and hit the top, and like all of a sudden they start declining. So that's stage number 1. The salesperson, the only thing they know how to do is ask questions, so they don't really have any arrows in the quiver. They don't have anything else that they could do. And then after a while being out in the field, they hear stories and they tell stories. So they get caught up in what the buyer says. The buyer says, like, I'm only shopping on price. So they hear that story and it goes in their head. Or now that they've been out in the field for a while, now they're telling a couple of stories and they stop asking questions. Okay, and so this will usually go for about 1 or 2 weeks. And then, the salesperson will look around. So they've gone through the question process, they've gone through the stories process, and then now what happens is the third stage, they go into a discount process. They start going, well, my sales training isn't working, and everybody says that I got to give discounts in order to close a deal, so now I got a discount. So they've gone from Q to S to D. Now they're in D, and they've just, all they got is like the one maneuver they got is they're going to give a discount. They're going to hand over some money to the buyer and say, let's make the sale. Okay? Well, that doesn't happen, and then they go full on desperate. So they go into panic mode. So they start giving away the farm. It's not just a discount, it's a massive discount. They'll walk in and they'll look at the job, and if the job is $15,000 or $20,000 and they have $2,500 to give, they will discount that right off the top. And so the buyer looks and they're like, whoa, what is this? If you can take that much money right off the top, what else could you take off of here? And the salesperson's like, look, I've given you everything I got. I've got nothing else to give. And they truly don't. But because they're in free fall and because they're in panic mode, they've given up the farm and they've got nowhere else to go. And the buyer goes, you know what? You're desperate. I'm not doing business with you. It creates a problem. So this is the common pattern. Until somebody says, hey, look, I need a sales trainer. I need a coach. I need a mentor. The company hires them or they hire them themselves. They go through this process, and every time that I see salespeople struggle, I'm like, okay, I got to guess, where are you at? Oh, you're closing deals, you're brand new? Cool, you're in question mode. Hey, you've closed a bunch of deals and now you're struggling? You're in story mode. You got to stop telling stories and you got to stop believing stories. Oh, you know what? Now you're past that and you're past story mode. Now you're in discount mode. Okay, so you're discounting to make the deal. And it may not be a crazy discount, but like I got to give a discount. And then it's like massive, like Friday, prices are going to be crazy. We're slashing prices, right? They go into like crazy panic mode. So if you're struggling right now, figure out where you're at. I mean, if you're brand new to sales, did you have really good questions? If you're in, if you've gotten past that point, are you telling stories? Are you listening to stories from the buyer? Are you in discount mode? Are you giving crazy discounts to make the sale? Or are you in free fall or panic mode? And between all this, you can self-diagnose and figure out what's going on, or you can hire a coach or you can hire a mentor and say, hey, look, here's where I'm at. Here's what I think is going on. Can you help me diagnose? Can you help me figure this out? What do I got to do to get better at sales? So the QSDP model is something that I've identified and figured out that almost every salesperson that I work with has gone through one of these quadrants. Now, there is like a fifth one, and that's give up. There are some people who they've been through Q, S, D, and P, and they're like, you know what, I'm giving up. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm done. I'm out. But for whatever reason, they're just kind of like hanging on and they're wasting time in appointments. If that's you, move on to a different field. Move on to a different industry. Look, I believe that you could be coached and you could be trained if you have the wherewithal, the capability, and you want to put in the time, energy, and effort, right? And if you want to have the right coaching. But there's plenty of people who say that they want coaching just so that they can blame and say, look, I tried coaching and it didn't work for me. So figure out where you're at. Are you in Q, S, D, or P? Are you asking questions? Are you telling a bunch of stories that are insignificant? Are you buying into the stories that the buyer has? Are you giving discounts, or are you in panic mode giving full on, like I'm giving you the bottom of the barrel pricing, walking in right from the door? Have you just given up? Okay? So there you go. It's a circle, right? And you can figure out just from looking at salespeople where they're at almost any given day. It holds true for every industry that I've worked in. So If you could do a small favor for me in the box down below, leave a comment, question, or story, that would be fantastic. To the right, to the left, there is a subscribe button. You know what you got to do. You got to subscribe. And then last off, you can send it out to all your friends via StumbleUpon, Facebook, Twitter, Google+. Why not even LinkedIn? Scott Sylvan Bell. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Aloha.